Ooh, boy, that Republican debate number 4 was wild. It started like an SH9T show and it ended like Trump's gonna win. Speaking of which, we're gonna not only talk about what Biden just had to say on Twitter. That was a surprise, or actually what Bloomberg reported he said, and then everybody tweeted about on Twitter. We're gonna talk a little bit about some Donald Trump, some of the latest of Donnie T. We'll talk about some of the latest on Tesla. We've actually got the Cybertruck invite right here. Listen to that. Oh, it sounds so good. Juicy invite. Where are those haters who are like, you didn't get invited? What is this? Oh. We've got to talk about T-Swizzle, Time Person of the Year. And then, did you see what Andrew Tate did?
Oh, I've got to follow up with Andrew Tate. Yeah,
yeah, of course. Okay, I saw that and I'm like, this guy, he just knows how to get people talking about him. So we'll talk about that. We've got we've got an item on here about Google's DeepMind, Gemini, and then Elon stealing content? What could it be? All right, let's get into it. Mikey, what's going on with Biden? Why would he say this, and what did he say?
Yeah, so Biden, I actually learned about this from seeing your tweet about it, but this is through Bloomberg, and it says, President Joe Biden said he might not be running for a second term if Donald Trump were not seeking to return to the White House, arguing the former president poses a grave threat to American democracy. Quote, if Trump wasn't running, I'm not sure I'd be running.
You know, on one hand, it's like, oh, you're trying to do good for the country, in your opinion, obviously, right? That's his opinion. Is, oh, I'm fighting for America, right? Obviously, half the country is going to be like, that guy is fighting anti-America. He's fighting for Hunter. That's like half. Okay, but to say, I don't know that I'd be running if Trump wasn't running, isn't that almost a little like defeatist? Am I trying to take like the negative point unnecessarily here? I'm not trying to on purpose. I just think the phrasing of that isn't good. Like, oh, well, I mean, if it weren't for how bad, Trump is in Biden's mind, I wouldn't be running. Are you saying you're too old? Is that an admission that he's like, I'm pooped out. I don't have the energy to do this. I'm only doing it because I feel like I have to. Is that the kind of president we really want? Who's like, I'm only doing it because I feel like I have to, versus I'll be here no matter who we're fighting because we have a mission to do together. We got to get this done, this done, this done, this done. I mean, I feel like that would be a more powerful POV. And again, I'm not trying to sound anti-Biden here, but am I getting anything wrong here? What do you think?
No, not at all. Well, first of all, McKay, we miss you too. Hope to get well soon. He's in the comments. But no, I think you're absolutely right, and I don't understand necessarily his perspective, because that implies that there's no other potential Democratic candidate that could stand up to Trump. But when we're looking at the actual polls over here, like, Trump seems to be beating Biden in every single poll, so it's almost like the DNC is shooting themselves in the foot here.
Yeah, they're exacerbating exactly what the polls are reflecting. It's like they're enhancing the polls. It's almost like they're admitting that the polls are right. But we got 11 months to go until the election, roughly today. Oh, which reminds me, today's my anniversary. God, so we got to hurry this podcast up. It's almost 8.
Oh yeah,
bedtime's 8.
2 years ago we were in Cabo today.
Yeah. No way, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Good times.
I lost a lot of color in my hair on that trip.
We had one dunk into the ocean and turned pink. Listen to this. Reuters reported that a 3-day opinion poll, this closed on Sunday, it showed that 40% of respondents approved of Biden's performance. So I think 39% was his all-time low. So he's kind of hovering around his low right now. And the biggest issues for voters, Reuters reported 19% of the poll respondents rated the economy as the top issue, and Biden's not doing a good job with that per them. 11% pointed to immigration, and 10% singled out crime. His approval has been consistently below 50% for over 2 years now.
Isn't every president, after they get in like 2 or 3 years, because everybody blames the president. Like, I feel like that's the job that just you're just going to be at. You're going to end up at like 40-45% approval. That's it. You're just not going to get above that. I don't know. I mean, I think Bush went into like the 60s after 9/11, but that was because of 9/11 and then responding. Everybody was on the same team at that point because it was America versus terrorism. Now it's just America versus America. I mean, there's so much infighting. So That is really interesting. But yeah, I do think if the election were held today, I don't know, it'd probably be Trump.
Nikki Haley. Oh. No, just kidding. Dude, like you covered that debate. The first half of that was an absolute circus. People were yelling at each other and talking over each other. And then like halfway through, I realized that Chris Christie was still there because he was
He
just
had to
like,
pitch his book again.
it's been this many minutes. Yeah, that the timekeeper, the moderator, as you said. And yeah, he pitched his book. What did you think about that? Who do you think was the strongest and who do you think was the weakest
That's
tonight?
a good question. So first of all, they need to. There are some people who like Chris Christie, but he's not there to run. He's there to moderate, prop up Haley, pitch his book, and bag on Trump. He's not actually there to perform to run. I mean, he said it himself. None of us here are going to win. So he's rolled over. I feel like it's just his job to campaign because he gets residual fundraising. Probably, honestly, from like Biden supporters at this point. I don't know. I'm just totally guessing. Just to get on these stages and just bag on people. I don't know. That's very jaded. I don't have a fact to back that up. It's just weird. So personally, I would like to have a debate without him. I'd like to see more of this Haley, DeSantis, Vivek trio. Let them stand for themselves. Why does Haley need Christie to stand up for him? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Haley can't stand up for herself. It's just let the candidates have their debate. You know, so that's what I think about Christie. As far as DeSantis, I think he's had some debate training. When he leading into like debates 1, 2, and 3, he wasn't that impressive. He had that weird smile thing going on, like he was forcing the smile, and he had his scripted openers, and then that was it. And it wasn't that strong after that. But the Newsom debate was like an inflection point up for him, and that really showed today. He did well there. Haley. She's probably, I mean, she's in at least in the polls, she's ahead. I mean, you look at in quite a few of them here. Well, in quite a few of them, she's ahead. It depends on which state you look at. So, for example, the latest Real Clear Politics poll here in Iowa shows DeSantis 22, Haley 19, Ramaswamy 5. He's way down. Like Haley, DeSantis neck and neck here. Trump obviously 45 in that one. Then you've got in the East Carolina, North Carolina Republican, you've got Haley at 13, DeSantis at 10, Ramaswamy down at 3. Then Republican presidential nomination, 66 Trump by Morning Consult, DeSantis 13, Haley 10. So, you do have DeSantis actually a little bit of that lead, 1 to 3 points of a lead over Haley. But Haley's double the score of Vivek over and over. And one of the things that I'm noticing is I think DeSantis has seen Vivek fall behind in the polls because he's saying things like, I'm going to abolish the FBI, and I'm going to do these radical things. I'm going to build up a border wall on the border of Canada, was what he said. In addition to, of course, finishing the southern border, which DeSantis has argued as well. DeSantis is cherry-picking the best sentiment, almost, of what Vivek is going for. And what Trump are trying to go for. Oh, we're going to build the Mexico wall. We're going to make Mexico pay for it, which Trump said, but I'm going to actually do it. And here's how I'm going to actually do it, is sort of the DeSantis messaging point here. Or we're going to direct a new director of the FBI or appoint a new director of the FBI, and we're going to clean up the IRS and the FBI. It's a more moderate approach, which is probably important for DeSantis because he lost a lot of support when he went so nuclear against Disney. And I know a lot of people don't like Disney now, and it still hurts me from my childhood. We talked about that in yesterday's podcast because, like, I want to like Disney, but they've definitely messed up. But that nuclear combat that DeSantis has taken against Disney, a lot of people thought, wow, if he can do that to Disney and turn on them that fast, he can do that to me. That hurt him for a while. And that actually led to like the uprising of the Viveks. And so DeSantis is really trying to rebuild. And he's actually doing decently on that rebuild front. Now, he did just have, I think it was DeSantis. I don't think it was Vivek. I think it was DeSantis. One of them just had one of their campaign staff ditch him and join Trump.
Interesting.
Yeah, one of them leaves to join Trump campaign. I'll Google that really quickly. Top Ramaswamy aide leaves to join Trump campaign. Ramaswamy had He blew up at the beginning of his campaign. But boy, he plateaued hard and fast. And people love him on Twitter. He almost reminds me a little bit of like the Tate, where it's like people have to talk about him.
Yeah.
You can't not share your opinion on that guy. So,
I actually had that exact thought while I was watching him today. Is like he reminded me a lot of Tate in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the polls here, the beginning of the debates, like before any of the debates, he was up at over 7%. He's just slowly been slipping away. And DeSantis did lose a lot of followers during his previous debate. I'm curious to see what the numbers are going to look like after tonight.
Yeah, no, I do wonder the viewership. I mean, the first debate had over 12.5 million viewers. The third debate was down at like 7.5. And the first debate had 12.5 million viewers at the same time as Donald Trump dropped his Tucker Carlson podcast. So you had way more attention on that debate, despite having a massive distraction from Trump. And viewership has just steadily declined since then. I mean, what else was on TV tonight? I don't know. I didn't look. I don't think there was anything major on TV tonight. I mean, we got a jobs report to look forward to on Friday. But I don't think that made people not watch TV tonight.
Yeah.
But it was on a weird station. What news station?
I had never heard of them before.
And then what Cuomo was there from CNN? Okay, whatever. Okay, so what am I missing? Because I just, you asked me my opinion. I gave you a full little summaryville here. Is, am I coming across as too biased in any direction? Not that I'm looking to revise. I'm just curious. Like, does that seem like a neutral kind of takeaway?
I think it's fair. I also think Christie kind of did the weakest. I honestly think this one might end up well for Haley because I know everyone was attacking her, but there was a lot of attention and emphasis on her opinions and like whether or not they disagreed or agreed with what she was doing, but it was all about her tonight.
That's interesting. The first debate, it was all about Vivek because he was blowing up. It's the strongest gets all the attention.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious about that. So you would say
point.
that maybe DeSantis was the strongest tonight?
I think DeSantis, I would give him most improved.
Okay.
Whereas, Vivek had a few little flubbers, whatever. I didn't like that he suggested that eminent domain was not a constitutionally protected feature in the Constitution. It is. It's in the Fifth Amendment. So I was surprised by his take on that, especially since he comes across as so much of I'm a constitutionalist, right? I did like his argument that free speech is most important during an emergency. I loved that line. I thought that line was actually very powerful, and I really liked that line a lot. So I tweeted that. But yeah, DeSantis got, in my opinion, most improved. Vivek, not. I mean, there were definitely fireworks between him and Christie, but that's like it's like you were kind of wrestling. You know, what do they say when you wrestle in the pig pen? You get muddy as well.
Yeah.
You both nobody wins. You both smell like poop. Like what's the point? More debate between him and Haley would be good. I'd like to see more of that. DeSantis and Haley had some good duking there. Haley, one thing that she gets hit for is this idea that she wanted everyone to be identified on social media. What got lost in her original pitch was except for Americans who should remain should continue to have the ability to remain anonymous online. That's not the part that went viral, though. So that was
my question to that is, how do you verify someone's American unless they put in their ID and get verified?
Unless they're talking like, right, because somebody might have your ID. That somebody has to have your ID. So then is it just not the public who can see your ID? Yeah, that's a really good point. How do you pull that off? Yeah, okay.
When they were asking which president they take most influence from, I was half expecting Christie to be like, Biden.
That's a good one.
He beat
I like
Trump. As far as closing on arguments, I honestly thought Vivek's was really, really weak tonight.
Yeah, it was not impressive. I mean, like we've heard, I almost wonder if he kind of, he's been going to too many like local town halls, and it's just like, okay, I got to quickly regurgitate the same clothes. Could have been a lot more prepped.
Yeah,
I agree with that. That's true. I kind of forgot
there.
about what he said even.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm going to take this stance to talk about climate change instead of making a closing argument.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like a to be continued. Anyway, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that was that. We'll see what happens. Someone in the comments was asking what Agent Orange said. Trump wasn't debating. He's obviously smart not to debate because he wouldn't want his followers to be watching the debate. You have everything to lose and nothing to gain, basically, if you're in Trump. So Trump wasn't part of the debate.
If you want Trump, you just go to Truth Social. They have actually reposting accounts now on pretty much all the different platforms. So you look at what's it called? Twitter. They've got Truth
It's
Social.
X, Kevin.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna take a while. You know, I've been on Twitter X since 2009.
Wow.
You know, I remember tweeting in high school, and so that's. I mean, you're talking 14 years of being on that damn platform, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to say X. A part of me wonders, like, do normal people know it's X? I know people on Twitter know it's X, but do everyday, like, if I say, oh, I posted this on X, is that going to resonate? I don't know.
Oh, they're gonna think you're talking about some adult website. I'll type in x.com to go there, and then it just redirects me to Twitter. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. The domain does redirect to Twitter. You're right. All right.
It's kind of confusing. Okay. Well, we can talk a little bit about Trump. We haven't talked about him in a while.
Yeah, you know, we haven't. I want to hit up Truth Social as well a little bit while you do it. Tell us what you got on Trump at Trumpadoodle. He's obviously winning in the polls still. Obviously, still a lot of uncertainty in the economy, which supports him. However, you did just have an Economist YouGov poll that showed Biden winning by 1 point in the general election, 41-42. However, that was today. That comes right after yesterday, where The Messenger and Harris showed Trump winning by 6 points. INI and Tip said Trump is winning by 2 points. And then you had another Messenger Harris from last week that showed Trump winning by 4 points. So what do you got?
So this has to do with him being on trial, which if you ask Chris Christie...
What? He's on trial?
He's times like 2 at least. If you ask Chris Christie, he's not going to be on the ballot because he's going to lose this.
Boy, he gets booed every time he does that, Chris Christie. Yeah, like, it's very interesting. Did he say what his book was about? I definitely tuned it out when he pitched his book. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's like an anti-Trump book or something like that, because all he does is rail on Trump, which... You've got a Republican audience there. Like, you're going to have way more Republican sympathizers or Trump sympathizers than not. You know, you want to go do that, go to a Biden event.
That's true. So
Does Biden have events?
That's a good question. I don't think
he's
he
campaigning.
has, huh?
I don't think he's. I mean, you know, he's privately campaigning, because I heard he was in Park City. I was in Park City. I don't know, a month and a half ago or whatever. And I heard he was, I just missed his motorcade by like 20 minutes or whatever. He was going to some kind of private residence just at the edge of Park City. And they were holding some kind of private fundraiser there or whatever. So very sort of private, got to get the Zuckerbucks, as DeSantis was saying earlier in the debate today. The Zuckerbucks. Where's our big $1 billion donations?
He's supposed to be reporting any transaction that's made over $5 million, and right now he's in trouble because he's made 3 over $5 million for a total of $40 million in unreported transactions.
Zuck?
No, Trump.
Donnie
Donnie Trump.
Okay, interesting. Wow.
So I've been seeing this get reported on. I kind of looked a little bit more into it.
Okay.
In his defense, $29 million of that was for tax payments.
Oh yeah, that doesn't count.
But then you got 2 others that total $11 million, so each one's over $5 million on those 2. And so they're going into why they weren't disclosed, and I actually don't know much about them.
You know, campaign to finance, there was actually a piece, it was either in the Wall Street Journal or the Times. I was reading it on the plane. They're talking about how I think one quarter or somebody just struck down the ability to actually allow the campaign finance authorities to go into your bank accounts, that the finance authorities have to trust the disclosure that you make of what the expenses are for rather than being able to look at your bank statements. And I thought, wow, okay, that's like an extremely weak level audit that campaign finance is doing. And when I remember in California, the campaign finance rules that I went through and had to comply with to be like in compliance with the finance rules was intense. I mean, we had an attorney full time just making sure we were compliant with campaign finance rules. Now in California, they're extremely tough, probably because they don't want anybody running against Gavin Newsom.
True that.
But anyway, yeah. I wonder how his campaign finance disclosure is. Oh, he is the campaign finance department. Sorry, that's jaded. It's jaded, but it's true. Okay, anyway.
So I do have a little bit actually on the other payments he made. So this is per NBC News, but
rigged.
Rigged.
And NBC, it could be worse.
Yeah.
I feel like CNN takes even more of a tilt But okay, all right,
I'd
let's hear
say
it.
so. I mean, even CNN, they've got good things
Some
every
things
now
were
and then.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked when they picked up that article you were talking about with the trading in Israel, the MSCI in Israel, when we talked about that in yesterday's pod, and they referenced Columbia and New York University. I respected that. That was good. And a lot of people actually use their greed and fear index in the markets. So I guess people pick and choose what they want to hear from CNN. Do you know, back like in 2008 or 9, no, it was before that. I was even younger. It would have had to have been 2007, like summer of 2007, early 2008. I made a report on a hurricane that came through, like a video report. Back then they called them iReports. And they had a whole website, ireport.com. And the best iReports, which were like news vlogs, citizen journalists, news blogs or whatever, were featured on the front page of CNN. And I had one of my iReports on the front page of CNN.
Nice.
Yeah, it was so cool because my phone rang. And, you know, as like a high schooler, then it's like, oh my God, it's just CNN's calling. Oh, it was like a big deal. It was like an honor. You know, I'm on the front page of CNN. You know, it was so cool. Yeah. But
That's
anyway.
really cool. We'll have to look into that in the next pod and read your report.
My iReport.
So, information connected with the sale of Trump Organization's license to operate Trump golf links at Ferry Point.
Wait, let's put this up on screen. Can we zoom in
Yeah.
on that too a little bit? There we go. Okay, so what do we have there? Jones, who's Jones? Jones says that her team requested and reviewed financial information in connection with the sale of Trump Organization, with the sale of the Trump Organization license to operate Trump golf links at Perry Point, a loan payoff for Trump Tower in Chicago, and a conservation easement tax filing for the Trump National Doral Miami. He does that a lot, those tax conservation easements. Basically, let's say you have $5 million of income, and then you have land that is part of a golf course or whatever, and you promise not to develop it. You're going to keep it beautiful. You're going to keep watering your freaking golf course or the trees around it or whatever. They'll let you donate the rights to that land. You still control it. So you get the benefits of control and ownership of the land. But you also get the tax write-off for donating the rights that you won't develop that portion of the land to the government. And then you could basically wash out your income that you had that year thanks to these tax conservation easements. Maybe we need like land hack.
There's a niche there.
Yeah.
Jones, that's Barbara Jones. She's a retired federal judge, and she's been appointed into looking into the financial activity and basically auditing Trump. So she's the one who's saying that he violated $40 million worth of undisclosed payments.
Interesting. I don't think any Trump voter gives two flying Fs. I think Democrats look at it and go,
I think that's why this is on NBC News and not on Fox.
Good point.
Okay, I think this is going to be kind of entertaining. Still Trump related. Not really political at all, though. He got really triggered by Robert De Niro last week. It was really funny.
Okay.
So this was at the Gotham Awards. So Robert De Niro has a speech that he's preparing, right? And he goes on stage and he finds out that all the stuff, he's planning on talking a lot of crap about Trump, but he gets on stage and all of the references to Trump are gone from the speech. They're not on the teleprompter. And apparently this was done by Apple, who, like, I don't know, the publisher of one of the movies or something. I don't know. But Apple somehow had the ability to go in and remove all these things from De Niro's speech. And so he started the speech by like kind of being like, they took this away, but I'm still going to say all this stuff and screw Trump and all that. So, and I'll actually show you the excerpt here. This is on Sarah Carter website.
Okay.
Okay, altered on behest of Apple. That was the producer of the film that he was in. So he goes, lying has become just another tool in the charlatan's arsenal. So that was the first thing Trump got upset about, is he called him a charlatan. Whoops. Charlatan arsenal. The former president lied to us more than 30,000 times during his 4 years in office. That's crazy that he kept count. And he's keeping up the pace in his current campaign of retribution. But with all his lies, he can't hide his soul. He attacks the weak, destroys the gifts of nature, and shows disrespect, for example, by using a Pocahontas as a slur. So Trump had a couple of responses to that. This is on Truth Social. Robert De Niro, whose acting talents have greatly diminished, with his reputation now shot, must even use a teleprompter for his foul and disgusting language, so disrespectful to our country.
You know, Trump uses a teleprompter too.
Everyone does.
Everybody, yeah.
Everyone does.
But I will say, Trump does have this famous way of going off script. Like he'll read, what was the famous one that everybody goes through? And then our brave men and women killed al-Baghdadi. That dog. We went in and slayed him like a dog. I love the off-script stuff. It's some of the best Trump stuff. It's just for entertainment. Anyway, sorry.
Disrespectful to our country. He has become unwatchable both in movies and with the fools that destroyed the Academy Awards, bringing them from one of the top shows in the country to a low-rated afterthought. He has a lot of random capitalizations. Country and low-rated is capitalized here. De Niro should focus on his life, which is a mess, rather than the lives of others. He has become a total loser as the world watches, capital W in world, waits and laughs. And then he got even more aggressive in this one. He goes, Robert De Niro is a mental midget whose mind is shot and whose life is a total train wreck, very much like crooked Joe Biden. He can't put two sentences together. The good news is that this crude and very stupid animal has lost all credibility.
Wow.
He got like triggered, dude.
You know, it's one of the reasons I think Vivek has gone so pro-Trump and won't say a bad thing about Trump, because he doesn't want that backlash. I mean, I guess you can't really blame it because Trump doesn't hold back. But a lot of Trump supporters say Trump doesn't hold back against the people who attack him first. I thought that was a very interesting POV. And people say, oh, they attack him, and then it's like, then you've got the license to get ridiculed by Trump, and then the nicknames come. And it's crooked Joe Biden, Hillary's emails,
DeSanctimonious. So, dude, people were on your...
I can't believe that's stuck, by the way, DeSanctimonious. Yeah.
There's some of them were weird. People on your stream, did you see the nickname they were giving for Chris Christie?
No.
It was Chris Krispy Kreme. I saw it all evening, man.
Oh.
Chat was unhinged.
And did you hear Vivek? Why don't you go get off the stage and have a nice dinner?
It's dinner time or whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Brutal, man.
Politics.
They were very much attacking like each other today, mostly rather than like the actual topics at hand. I found.
Yeah, and the real topics we've heard like 20 times now from these candidates, and it's a little exhausting. It's like, although again, DeSantis was able to sneak in some new stuff. The new director of the FBI and kind of clarifying his position a little bit on transgenderism. Or even his take on college debt, how he's a big fan of how colleges should be responsible for making sure that the people that pay them to get educated are actually capable of getting a job that can help themselves pay off their debt. I think that's a good point. It's like, you know, you go into debt for $50,000 for, a degree that doesn't give you a job. And now you need student loan forgiveness because you're sandbagged and can't get ahead of life and you can't declare bankruptcy to get rid of the debt and you're screwed. You know, is that your fault or the college's fault? Did you get sold a bill of goods, basically? Kind of like, where's the refund policy, basically?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Why, by the way, I never understood this. Why can't you declare bankruptcy on student loans?
That's a really good question. It's probably because nobody would want to give loans to students otherwise, because think about it. You have no assets. So why not just go rack up $300,000 of student debt, 4 years of Harvard at $75K or whatever. If you can get into Harvard, that's $300K, room and board, whatever. And then the moment you graduate, BK. And then you wipe it out. You wipe the slate clean. You could buy a home after 3 or 4 years with FHA. It's going to take you a while to get established anyway. It takes you way longer to pay off $400,000 in debt. Technically your credit gets shot for 7 years after you declare BK, but a lot of people with BK are back to like a 700 score in a much shorter time. I think they're kind of loosened some of the FICO score guidelines. So that's probably why people just wouldn't lend, because you would just declare BK every time.
And I wonder if I really blame universities or if I blame, people giving out the loans instead. Like, who's really screwing the students here?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Is it the students taking the debt, or is it the lenders lending the debt, or is it the colleges spending the money? Peter Schiff has the argument that all of this is like bullcrap, because the more you give students in terms of borrowing power, the more they'll spend. So their ability, their capacity to pay the higher tuition at elite colleges goes up. So those colleges are like, okay, I guess we have to spend more money. Let's build a new theater that we don't need, or a new football field that we don't need, just to attract more new students so we can go after more of those easy money loans. That's one of the big ones that I completely agree with Peter Schiff on. I think it's a combination of all of it. It's like a triangle. In a triangle, how do you know which leg is to blame? Well, it's actually all of them. But then again, is it really the students? Well, probably in part, or is it the corporations that hire based on those degrees, right? You get a Harvard applicant. Well, I mean, now it's becoming a woke problem, but usually it used to be you get a Harvard applicant versus, a community college applicant or whatever. There's a big highlighter through the Harvard applicant for a job. Again, I don't know if it's that way anymore, but it's all of it. It's the lender, it's society, and it's the colleges. So it's all of it. How do you fix that? That's a tough one, man.
If Biden were to cancel all the loans, have taxpayers pay
They'll just
for
come
them.
right back. They're like weeds, man. It's kind of like you pull the weeds, but you never put weed barrier down. It'll be right back. It just fill the pot right back up. And then the next generation of people are going to go, well, now I want my student loans forgiven.
Well, our students is Gen Z going to college to university at the same rate that millennials were?
Ooh, that's a good question. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying I'm anti-student loan forgiveness because I do think a lot of people got robbed. I want to be very clear about that. But I think what you need is better high school education. If we could spend more money on high school education and training, then maybe you don't feel the need to go to college because you can actually get a great career out of high school. That's where I think the competition is. That's what I ran for, or what I ran under when I ran for governor. I argued that we should have a system known as future schools, that when you turn 16, the final 2 years of your high school, you could elect that rather than taking a biology class and chemistry class, you could elect to spend that time learning financial education and a trade. That the time you're spending learning physics and algebra, you're spending learning plumbing or electrical work and financial education. So that way, when you're 18 years old, you can actually do a damn in this society. And maybe you don't actually feel like you have to go to college. Instead, at 18, you could become a licensed vendor and contractor, tradesperson, videographer, editor, whatever you want to be, without feeling the need to have to go to college. That's what I ran for governor under. Nobody has picked up on that. I wish one of these candidates would pick up on it. The thing that has made me so happy is that some of my ideas from my campaign have been picked up. You saw in the LA mayoral race, this guy spent like $100 million on the race. I spent like $800,000 on my campaign, and we did great. We got like, I think, more than a vote per dollar we spent. We did great. You were part of it, by the way. Thank you for that. Yeah. So that was fun, and we did. I think we did a fantastic job for the means that we had. We did a really good job, but. The last LA mayoral race, you actually had the mayor of LA say, we're going to deploy the National Guard to deal with the homelessness in LA. And I'm like, right out of my campaign. I'm the first person to say that and argue for it. And I'm so glad to hear that kind of stuff come up. Or like, how about you want to fix unaffordable housing? Build more. You know the best place to buy real estate? California. Because they won't build more. Because they're dumb. Build more. You want affordable housing? Build more. It's that simple. Otherwise, you're literally incentivizing more investment into the areas where you're not building more because it's so incapable of supporting building and supply growth that you're basically protecting the people who are investing. You're exacerbating the problem by not building. Sitting around doing nothing is exacerbating the problem. But that's politics for you.
I'm trying to find out how many people ran for that recall election. It was a lot. It was like...
Oh, it was like a list of 40 people. Remember, who was the Jenner was in it? That was a joke.
I forgot about that.
That was a joke. I mean, look, if it wasn't for Larry Elder, I think I would have won.
Well, so question one was, do you want to repeal Newsom? Question two was, if he gets repealed, who would you want to be the governor?
Right.
You got second place in every county in California except San Francisco. You won.
I got first in San Francisco. You're right. That's actually crazy, and they needed help most.
That's true.
That's only gotten worse since we were there. When we were there, when we were campaigning in San Francisco, it wasn't as bad as it is now.
No, it's gotten worse for sure.
Substantially worse. It's sad. Really, because it's a beautiful city. I almost bought real estate there. Anyway, not recently. That was before the pandemic. But anyway.
So yeah, NPR actually is reporting that fewer and fewer students are applying for colleges these days. So
well, that's competition. Is that a chart? Can we throw that up? Can you zoom in on that, and maybe we could throw that up on screen? I'm blind as bat, so I can't see that. I don't even know if I can. Okay, I dig it. I can definitely see that. We need a bigger TV. What is this?
That's true. What's this, like 50 inches? Pathetic.
It's one of 3 TVs on that wall.
4. See the 100?
Yeah, you're right.
Undergraduate student enrollment fell 6.6% from the fall of 2019. Okay, so this graph is skewed because it makes it look like it's a plummet. 6.6% isn't that much. But it is, you're going from about 16.5 mil to 14.5 mil. So it is clearly a decline. The way the graph is being presented is the scale is off because again, you're only showing 14 to 17 here. But okay, 6.5%. I wonder how much of that has to do with, though. See, I think this is not a good stat because how many people didn't want to go to college during COVID?
To be fair, COVID's only like the last bit of this graph here. Anything
is it?
Yeah, because this is from 2015 to 2021.
Oh.
So you're right.
Wait, do the math. Wait. So what's the dot all the way on the left?
16.6.
Okay, that's the old number. What's the new number? 14.4?
14.4.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a decline of 13.2%.
And then I also saw NPR has
right.
reported that up till 2022 they've lost 8% from 18 to 22.
It's you can see the inflection. It's gotten worse.
It has gotten worse.
But that was COVID, right? Okay, so I do think a lot of people who are like remote schooling, F that. Like, why go to college to be remote? Totally agree. Like, and I commuted. Man, I wish I was at school, there to have that college experience. I always commuted, which is probably, in hindsight, was the best decision for being in a relationship. But man, I wish I went to college. Like the actual college experience. But anyway, we'll get off that. So, now I could understand why, after COVID, why that's a little less desirable. On remote school, I hate Zoom. Yeah. I see comments of people. They actually think they understand real estate. They're like, Kevin, why don't you buy real estate over FaceTime? And I'm like, these people are complete morons. They don't realize when I walk into a deal, and today, I walked it was beautiful. I'm at the airport. I call this agent. Hey, I'm about 5 minutes away. Got any offers on this property? I'm a broker. She's like, oh, I'm actually here with the sellers right now. And I'm like, mind if I swing by? She's like, oh, well, I mean, it's kind of like a private appointment. I'm a broker. She's like, yeah, all right, come on by. Met the sellers, met the agent. I'll probably get that deal. Real estate is a people business.
It's a people business.
People don't understand that.
You spent 8 figures of your own personal money, not even HouseHack money, because you understand that and you want to be there. You want to be talking to these people face to face and seeing these properties in person.
100%. That's because I think people think that it's like, okay, well, you buy a plane, it's because, you want a plane. It's a pain in the ass. I'll promise this. I'll put on Twitter later my schedule of what I did today, and then you see if you want to do that. This is not a life of luxury. This is a life of grind. But I'm willing to spend 8 figures on that sort of investment because I look, and that's of my own money, because I think we're creating, actually 2, what could be multi-billion-dollar companies. So, when you look at it that way, that's a drop in the bucket of an investment, right? So anyway, okay, off that. So what else do we got to cover?
All right, we got Times Person of the Year, Tay Swizzle.
I love Taylor. Okay, so I know it's really popular right now to like Taylor Swift. I've gone to almost every single Taylor Swift concert with Lauren, and we've been going, since basically we were in a relationship together. Taylor Swift was the first concert I ever went to. Been to pretty much all of them. One time she was about to go into labor, so I went with her dad instead because we had great tickets. It's like, it sounds weird to say it, but I find her inspiring. And when I was in college, because of her, I actually took a, what do they call it back then? Like a theater class or drama class or whatever. I was in a play. I'm not good at acting or plays or whatever. But I did it anyway, and I practiced and I studied and I learned, and I was selling real estate at the time too. So I was like going from wearing a suit and driving my real estate Prius to showing up at like practicing lines for like, I'm Shoop. I remember when I went to audition and I'm like, I need to be Shoop because I am Shoop. And they're like, you're hired. It was crazy. But anyway, that was all because of Taylor. So I love this. I'm so proud of this. But please, go ahead.
When I was younger, I actually really, really disliked Taylor Swift because I was like, I know. I hope Lauren's not watching this. Because I was like, oh, she's like posing as this like poor small town girl and her dad's a stockbroker or whatever, and she comes from all this wealth. But over time I've realized like it's not about like what you're given necessarily. It's about what you do with what you've got. And so she's blown up well past the success that was guaranteed for her. She's a grinder. She's like one of the most probably one of the most famous people in the world right now who's not like in some kind of political power.
Or canceled.
Or yeah, you're right. You're right.
She was canceled for a little bit.
Tell us more. Fact check. Fact check.
Well, remember the Kanye situation? And,
Yeah, well, Kanye comes up on the stage. Obama called Kanye West an asshole for what he did because Taylor.
Which thing that he did?
It was Taylor's winning this award or whatever.
VMAs.
VMAs. Well, she's winning an award. Kanye comes up, grabs the mic from Taylor, and is like, "Oh, it should have been. What was it, Beyonce, or somebody else should have won?"
He was going to let her finish, though. That's what he said.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish.
That was still messed up, though. I didn't like that. But then again, I don't like Kanye. But he's the definition. If Kanye, like I tell this to myself all the time, if Kanye can't get canceled, nobody can get canceled. Like you cancel yourself because that guy has been canceled so many times, and he just keeps selling shoes and Yeezys, and then the guy just keeps killing it. He puts on a good show. I haven't been to one of his shows. I don't intend to go to one of his shows, but whatever. Please. So what's this fact check here? I want to hear this.
How did she get canceled for that?
Well, in 2016 or something, Kanye made that song "Famous" or something like that, where there's that line where he says, "I made that bitch famous." Right? So that's when everybody turned against. A lot of people turned against Taylor, and that's when she went into hiding for a year.
Wow.
For a year, she disappeared, and then after that, she released her album "Reputation."
Wow. All these words make sense now.
That's really interesting. Christian, can you shout out your TikTok? Christian, by the way, when he's not working like 16 hours a day slaving for us here, thank you, by the way. We love you, Christian. Today he had a relationship with Matterport. So anyway,
It was an extended date.
It's an extended relationship with Matterport. So Christian, when he's not working 16-hour days, covers Taylor Swift actually on TikTok. For what it's worth, Christian, shout out that TikTok.
Sure, it's just my name, Christian Kubacub, Cubacub. Yeah. I mean,
how did you just say your last name? Kuba? What?
Just the phonetic way.
Oh, the phonetic way. Because I thought Cuba Cub is always the way I remember how to spell. Kubaku. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Was that like Hawaiian or something?
It's Filipino.
Okay, but you grew up in Hawaii.
If you want to bring up the Taylor Swift article, there's some good quotes. You can really learn a lot from Taylor Swift.
Which article? Did you send it to me?
Just search Taylor Swift Time Person of the Year.
And you can learn a lot tell us about it. Give us a gist of it.
You can learn a lot from her story for entrepreneurship and like perseverance. Because
I like that.
You know about Taylor's version, her re-recording plans and stuff like that. Her original music was purchased by Scooter Braun without her consent or without her knowing, and then she's been working throughout these years to re-record her music because her original music was stolen from her. So
every time I'm in the car, and Lauren loves singing Taylor Swift in the car, and if I don't play Taylor's version, she's like, turn that shit off right now. Like she'll get mad, and she's a Swiftie, for sure. But
I'm surrounded by Swifties.
Right now, you actually are.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Someone in the comments is upset that she won Time Person of the Year. The Person of the Year, it's not necessarily supposed to be someone who's like saved the world. It has to do with like how much influence you have and things like that, and how popular you were. I mean, she was like one of the main stories of this past year. So
she kept us out of recession.
It's 100%. Cool. Yeah, I'll read the rest of this Time article later.
I parked next to her plane once. That's all I can say. I wanted to meet her, but apparently she leaves at like 2 a.m. or whatever. I don't know.
Have you gone to any other concert besides Taylor Swift?
Which makes sense because it's after the concert, but I don't know. What?
Have you gone to any other shows?
Oh,
concerts?
yeah. Eagles. Eagles was very good before some of the, unfortunately, the original group passed away. Eagles was extremely good. True to the original songs. Unlike Aerosmith spent too much time doing the new stuff. And then he's like, all right, now it's time for an old song. And everybody freaks out cheering in the stadium. And he's like, oh, you guys want the old shit. And everybody's kind of looking at each other like, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So anyway, I appreciated the Eagles for that a lot. The Eagles, very good. Very
Okay.
good. But yeah, no, not a lot of concerts.
I gotta take
Jason
you to that.
Aldean back in Florida, but the only thing you do in Florida is Jason Aldean based is country. So I was in a country town too. Everybody's got a truck. You get smogged. Everybody's got 7 guns. Usually they're just strewn across the table. Like you go to a regular dude's home and there's just like 4 of them lying out on the table. It's like, okay, all right. Gun safe? What's that?
I gotta take you to a hardcore show, man, like a prog metal or death metal show.
Maybe
I'll throw you
like
in the pit. Teach you
maybe
how to hardcore
XS
dance.
with green hair again.
Oh, XS was a good time. That was my first time at a club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started at the top, so I don't know. I don't need to go to another club anymore.
There you go. That was a good one.
Yeah, so to recap, if you have time, you should read that Time Person of the Year story about Taylor Swift. Her story is like a true hero's arc. I mean, she grew, grew really big and then lost it all after getting canceled by Kanye and everybody turning against her. And now look where she is now. She's on top of everything, top of the music industry.
I love
And a
it.
Yeah,
billionaire.
and the music industry is a brutal place to be in. I tried it,
yeah.
I gave up.
Oh, and apparently Taylor, the most, or one of the first musicians to become a billionaire through music. A lot of musicians become a billionaire. Well, not a lot become a billionaire, but those who do become a billionaire or who have before her did so through the sales of other products or endorsements or whatever, movie deals, brand deals, whatever. Taylor, on the other hand, who did apparently sign a $120 million FTX contract that never got ratified because Sam Bankman-Fried decided to go BK too soon, apparently, or however that played out. Taylor Swift did it through concerts and music, and merchandise. So congratulations to her. Congratulations, really, really, really impressive. Anyway, okay, enough of the Swiftie there. What else we got?
All right, enough of Taylor Swift here. You know who should have been Time Person of the Year? According to Andrew Tate, it should have been Andrew Tate. Throw this on the screen.
Oh my God.
And the reasoning that and Andrew Tate retweeted this. He actually retweeted a couple of these, but Andrew Tate is the real person of the year.
You know what I want to do?
What?
I want, because I don't go to the gym at all.
Uh-huh.
I want to put that picture up in the gym, get more buff than this guy, and then physically kick his ass.
You're going to be in the war room for that. Someone's going to clip that and throw it in the Discord. This is going in the war room.
I think he's full of shit. I don't think, some of the things he says, I agree with. Of course, you can agree with some things that even people you don't like say. I don't think this guy works hard. I think he spends more time writing out tweets than he actually does working. That's my take. Obviously, he was a kickboxer. He's in great shape. Definitely got that. But that's why I'm like, that my motivation, maybe after I finish this next test, in 10 days is my next test, my goal is to kick his ass, physically. And then Grant Cardone. Okay, so we're going to start at Tate. Then we're going to go Grant Cardone.
All right.
Where should we go from there?
You want to fight Ross Gerber? He looks pretty tough.
I already do. Every
okay.
time when he rides my pee-pee.
Well, I guess the final boss is Elon Musk with his walrus technique.
I can't fight Elon. I like Elon.
The reasons Andrew Tate is Person of the Year. Single-handedly saved men from becoming soy boy losers. Survived the biggest matrix attack ever known. Listen to the wording on this one. Empowered women and saved them from being whores.
Which is kind of the exact opposite
Right,
that most consider him of. Okay, but
Is teaching people how to become wealthy in real time with no lies or scams. I mean, I can't say that one's true or false. I don't know how much is scams, how much is real, but he obviously has a big following. Is one of the most respectful and real people on the planet.
Right. Because he's always talking about that jet that he doesn't own and the $1 billion he doesn't have. Okay, whatever.
He has saved thousands of starving children by donating over $25 million to charity this year. I don't know. I'd have to fact check that number, but it does seem like he's donated a lot. I think it was for Palestine. I think he had a crew show up and donate a bunch of food over there, which was pretty cool.
Food is surprisingly cheap. I'm not trying to discount what he's doing. And I've donated a lot to many different causes, hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations. I've paid probably actually in excess of $20 million in taxes in my career. It's insane, if not more. I feel like I'm doing my part, and I plan to continue doing that. But surprisingly, food's not very expensive. Like if you want to buy out like a food drive or whatever, you can do it for not that much. And I actually think that's a good thing. And I'm not, again, trying to discredit or whatever. I actually think that's a nice thing to do, is giving to food drives. I'm a big fan of food drives. Food drives, food banks. You know, people who are food insecure should be able to have the opportunity to actually get healthy food. You know, whether that's vegetables or fruit, fresh fruit is so expensive, and it takes so much effort to actually cut up, and then you end up getting salmonella. But anyway, all right, where were we?
Yeah, that's one of the big issues with like the people starving from around the world. It's not a money issue; it's like a logistical
Yes,
issue, and it's
yes.
a corruption issue.
Yep.
You can't solve that with money. You need more than
true.
money.
All right, what else?
Piers Morgan got COVID, and Tate had something to say about that too. Here's the tweet. Piers Morgan update: I've tested positive for COVID, and it feels, I got it on my screen, it feels as rough as a badger's arse. But in the spirit of the show must go on, I'm going to have to anchoring tonight. Blah blah blah. Anyway, Tate responds with, "Thank God you have the vaccine."
Yeah. You know, I'm sure there are a lot of people who regret getting the vaccine, but let's be clear, nobody got the vaccine expecting it to last 3 years. The vaccines came out 3 years and 1 month ago, almost to the day. I'm pretty sure it was November 7th, 2020. 3 years and 1 month ago. Nobody ever expected it would last that long. Now, I'm also not suggesting it was even effective for more than like 6 months versus COVID-1. And then you had to get like booster 27 and your 5G reception went up, which was the only benefit of getting the boosters, because your body has this memory. This is something that they've been studying and finding. I reported this on the channel as well, that your body actually has a memory to where your body is, when you get another COVID booster, your body is creating more antibodies against the original COVID, not the new mutations they're giving you, because of some form of a body memory of, oh, that's this, I'll print more of this. It's like, no, that's the wrong thing you're making. And so the boosters are becoming less and less effective. I think they're 4-week efficacy right now, which is terrible. But I'm adding this because from like the statement that Andrew Tate says, oh, but you're vaccinated. It is from a sentiment point of view, populist. From a logic point of view, 100% flawed. That's my take.
Yeah, it's also the vaccine isn't necessarily there to prevent you from getting it. It's kind of like a spectrum, especially early on. Because I knew, in Bulgaria, a lot of my extended family ended up passing away, and nobody really got the vaccine there. Like a huge chunk of people. Yeah, I went over there 1 year just kind of like to say bye to the people that were still around.
God.
But it's a spectrum, right? Where it's like death is the worst one. And then before that you have like emergency room. And before that you have like violently ill. And before that you have some signs. And before that it's maybe a carrier. And then before that you don't get it. So wherever you are on the spectrum, if you get the vaccine, like maybe you're one step lower than you otherwise would have been.
That was the hope, exactly, is that would be the case. Now, of course, you have so much going into, okay, well, how much myocarditis is being caused by the vaccines? And from a statistic point of view, less certainly than potentially the lives saved, but lives saved are very hard to measure.
Yeah.
Very hard to measure lives saved, because you see those who died, and then you don't see lives saved, but you do see lives lost due to myocarditis.
Yes.
Right? And initially, when I first heard that, I'm like, really? How could a vaccine cause myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart, where people potentially can, quote unquote, die suddenly from this? Apparently, when you inject the vaccine without aspirating the needle, there's a chance that you could send too much of a dose of this vaccine directly into a vein, which can go directly to your heart and then deposit mRNA in your heart, leading to myocarditis. Now, there's actually a scientific path as to how that, from improper, not the vaccine itself, but from improper application, you could cause myocarditis. That was scary. So I was always like, So now it's like, you take the kids to get a vaccine, like my new children that were just born, my twin girls, and it's just regular vaccines, the ones that have been around for 20, 30 years, like your Hep B or whatever vaccine, polio vaccine and stuff. I preemptively. So do you have to aspirate these? I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm just like, I'm going to spit this out there just in case, in the event it's a reminder. It's certainly not going to hurt anything,
Yeah,
you know, right? But then they're like, you want to give your kids the RSV vaccine? And we're like, how long's that been out? And here's the fact sheet. Approved in March of 2023 and August of 2020.
We'll skip that one.
How bad is it? It's a cold. I think we're okay. We'll pass that one.
We'll roll the dice on the cold, yeah.
We'll take the cold on that one.
Who was the candidate on tonight's debate that kept referencing the vaccine? Was that DeSantis?
Vaccine? I don't remember.
Because he kept talking about, I'm sure he meant to say the mRNA vaccine, but he kept saying RMNA. It was like 3 times in a row. It's like he's not misspeaking. He just doesn't know what that is. Messenger RNA, mRNA.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, let's move on to some fun stuff.
I bought the domain mRNA hack.
No, you didn't.
Anyway,
if you didn't, someone's about to and try to sell it to you. You remember that race the Cybertruck did against the Porsche?
Yes, yeah, where it's been towed.
Yeah, it's being towed. That was really, really good marketing. A couple things to note. That was well, first off, that
rigged?
was not rigged.
Oh no,
it's not rigged.
Okay,
it was just slightly misleading.
Oh, of course.
This was, and you can use reference points on the from the actual track to see this. This was in Sacramento. We have a drag strip there. That's where this was filmed.
Okay.
Typically, a drag race is a quarter mile. This was half of that. This was 1/8 of a mile. And if it had gone the full quarter mile, then the Porsche would have almost certainly won because it was already catching up at the end. With that said, we're talking about a high-performance track car against a truck towing a car. So,
Right.
It's still really, really cool.
Yeah.
But they actually just raced the Cybertruck. This CarWow did this. They raced the Cybertruck against a Lamborghini Urus, which is their big SUV. And I want to show you that on the screen here.
All right, let's see it.
Gauging cheetah stands.
3, 2, 1.
He's done. Oh my god! Absolutely dropped.
Wow.
That was on it.
That was a full-fledged drag race.
Yeah, that's nice. I love the acceleration. I got the Plaid, which is 1.9 minus the roll off or whatever, so it's probably like 2.1 or whatever, probably. Yeah. I was at an intersection and I'm in the left turn lane. And I'm like, crap, I'm supposed to be in the straight. So I kind of set my blinker and lean over, and I'm kind of doing this, and then I'm just like waiting, like I'm in Mario Kart, like the boop, boop, whoosh. I'm across the intersection, and I checked left and right. Obviously, I usually always do that at intersections. I always get nervous about being T-boned.
Yep.
But I checked left and right, and I'm like, okay, there are very few cars around here, very little traffic. But I was across that intersection before they even started rolling.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
When I got my Model Y, which is slower than your car substantially.
Still fast,
It's
though.
still fast. Like, light turns green, I can floor it, and I can get to the other side of the intersection, cross that line completely before the cars on that side are able to cross that same line.
Yeah,
like before
it's
a car's
insane.
length. Crazy.
Yeah.
This was also the Urus. It costs more than twice as much. It's like a $210,000 car.
How do you even spell that?
URUS. A lot of people say
I spelled-
Urus, but it's Urus.
Oh, I tried ANUS. I'm not getting the right images.
That's a different word. Freudian slip of the fingers there. It was also running high-performance summer tires versus the Cybertruck, which was using all-terrain, like mud tires.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if they'll ever come out with a track package for the Cybertruck.
Oh, I'm sure third party will immediately. That's when I profit. So yeah, $209,000 on Auto Trader for a used. Wow. Urus. Maybe they're not making enough of them or whatever. Here's one used Lamborghini 2022, $274,000 with 6,000 miles. Here's a nice green wrapped one, $291,000. I mean, they look bitchin'.
Oh yeah, I love Lambos, and I love how obnoxious their colors are. It's like my favorite part.
Max demands, you remember, an orange Lambo.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
you're like,
right.
may
That's
as well
right.
get a McLaren
I
at
get
that
a
point.
McLaren at that point, buddy. Yeah, I'm a McLaren fanboy. You know this.
Yeah.
Jack used to call me Orange Shirt Guy for the longest time before he knew my name years ago because I kept wearing that McLaren jacket.
I love that. Now we call you Peace Finder. Every time the kids are missing a Lego piece, you're like, it's right there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well,
like, we
you
gotta
come up with this. It's right here.
We're going to
Yeah.
send you to Israel next.
That's funny. That's a different piece, but yeah. All right, well then let's talk about Elon stealing some content while we're on the topic.
I remember back in the day, Elon would he would literally screenshot people's tweets. He would crop in on the iPhone and then retweet the meme. And you could see he still left some of the border in where it's like, bro, you can see you totally cropped it.
So he doesn't have to do that anymore because they have a feature now on X that lets you basically share other people's content and it counts as yours.
What?
Look at this. So Elon tweeted video, got 21 million views. The original poster had 21,000, right? And it shows you when Elon tweets
They're
this.
good people, by the way. Tesla owners, Silicon Valley, they're
yeah,
good people.
I love
They're
them.
good people, yeah.
So this is Musk's tweet, and it gives credit. It says from Tesla owners Silicon Valley.
So they tweeted a video.
Yep, right
and
here.
then he retweeted not the tweet, but just the video.
Yes. And X shows you right here, Tesla owners Silicon Valley is the original poster, but it doesn't increase their views. They're still stuck at 21K, which is what they're
Wow.
getting paid for.
But is this? I know there are different timestamps. Is this the same video?
Oh, it's the same video. It is on
okay.
different
it's
timestamps, you're right, but it's the same video.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I guess
I'm
I
not
don't
a
know how
fan
to-
of that because I think if you repost someone's video like that, they should, I mean, at the very least, call it half and half, but they should absolutely be getting credit for that, getting paid for that.
Why do they have to have the same video instanced like 30,000 different times? Every time the same video gets referenced, it should just contribute to the same views.
That's what I think,
That
too.
would actually be better for X. I mean, it would make everything look so much more popular. You know, then you add all these views together as opposed to accruing them separately.
And then it would be 21.021 million views.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't notice at all a difference.
But the fact is, it's still their content, so I think they should have gotten paid for it. That's my take. A lot of X was kind of upset about that the other day when this came out, and I kind of
That's
agree
fair.
with that. This is kind of a lame one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really see it as stealing content given the attribution. Honestly, they're getting a lot more attention out of the result of this. I'm a big fan of them as well. But yeah, I could see that needing a little bit of love to be resolved. Yeah. All right. Is that it?
We can save AI for tomorrow if you
Let's
want
do
to.
AI tomorrow.
Yeah, if you want to go on your little anniversary date.
Ooh. All right. Ready,
Drop the
Christian?
beat.
Make sure to check out meetkevin.com for those courses on building your wealth. And make sure to check out our sponsor, StreamYard, letting me multi-stream on Twitch, Twitter/X, and YouTube at the same time. With that said, even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personal advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by us. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purpose of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I personally operate an actively managed ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video, Tesla. However, I have no relationships to any issuers other than HouseHack, nor am I acting as a market maker. Make sure to come back for the Market Open live stream every day, 5:25 a.m.